We are recording.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Hideaway Hills Management Committee meeting as of March 9th, 2021. I think spring may be here or it's just fooling with us, but it's nice to have some warm weather. All right. Looks like we have no invited guests tonight. So, Jeff, you just want to dive us right into the numbers?
Sure. Not a whole heck of a lot of change since last meeting. Capital fund totals at 297,270. Depreciation fund at 293,201. The dam account subtotal is at 141,334. And what happened there, the variance there from last time around is we had a $30,000 principal payment that we tried to make in December that for some reason the bank couldn't find. They admit they received it, but they couldn't find it, and they wanted us to do a stop check and everything else. So what we did is talk to Jim and just put that back into the account and then on our side so that we can continue to make the regular payments of 33,000 and some change. But 101,678 in the popular bank account that we have to keep until the end of life of that loan. And then the dam repair checking account has 39,656 after a payment last week.
All right. Something to note on the 101,000 in Popular Bank, we have to keep that there to the end of the loan, even when the loan falls below 100,000. So what we'll probably end up having to do is borrow on the capital fund, pay the loan off, and then we get our $101,000 back, and then we make the capital fund whole. But we have to leave it there until the loan's paid off, or the interest rate goes back up, or
well, yeah, interest rate raises an entire 1.5 points, I think, and they'll
over the life of the loan.
They'll retro it back to the beginning of the loan, so that would be more than we want to deal with.
There'll probably come a point where we have to borrow $100,000 from the capital fund, pay that off, and then and then turn. Once we get that, we'll draw that money and make ourselves whole. So,
what do you think that'll be, Jim?
When we get the loan balance down below 100,000, we could actually do it at that point, because that 101,000 was part of our dam assessment money we collected. So
it was originally borrowed 5 years ago, and then from CapEx or depreciation or wherever, and then paid back. So what is in the account is in the account, and that's where it belongs.
Yes.
So it's essentially our last 3 payments, but we can't use it for the last 3 payments.
Correct. So I just want to make everybody aware. Well, we are going to have to request that money out of the capital fund until it'll be just a timing issue, but we will have to do that. So news and notes.
There is nothing.
Anybody got any news or notes they want to share? Okay.
Beautiful day. Beautiful day today.
Yeah. Rex, looks like you wanted to discuss paving the front entranceway.
I did.
I will say is long overdue.
Yep. Thank you.
Nasty mess down there.
And it is. So I sent you all out the quote from McKee Paving. It's also got a map of what's included, and then a copy of the road budget. And I've just been looking at this, and I understand that we want to get quotes as often as possible, but this project is kind of like a design build where, I mean, we're going to come in, and he's going to come in and do some surveying, and he and I will work to design the drainage to make sure that, well, he'll design it, and I'll make sure to check it and make sure that they lay it out correctly, and then they'll come in with a rotomill, and in places they may mill 2 inches, maybe 2.5. I don't want to go much more than that. In other places they may not mill anything, and so the goal is to get the grade set basically 2 inches below where we want the final surface, and then they can come in and overlay with 2 inches of hot mix to the grade that we want. without removing so much of the existing that we get down into the mud down below, because according to Rick, that is it's mud underneath. And if we were to remove all of the asphalt and rock and everything that's there now, it would be ugly quick. It's, you know, I could go get other quotes. I'd have to spend a lot of time doing specifications and hope that the other contractor understood what I wanted and what we needed and the conditions of the area. And I'm afraid if we got anything cheaper, we'd have a chance of having a mess, and we just don't want a mess there. So I'm asking to waive our normal bidding process that we've been using for expenditures and accept this quote. There's also there's site 1, which is the entrance area. Site 2 is the area, and I can't remember what the road is called in that section. I think it changes right there, but right the curve as you come around Eagle Claw and start climbing the hill toward the clubhouse, and that's been moving around quite a bit. That's a tough area for the motopave to hold. And actually on the quote, I've got him milling out 3 inches and putting 3 back. And I think what we'll probably do is cut 2 and put 3 back. That won't change the quote much because it takes just as long to mill 2 inches as it does 3, but he might lower it a little bit. And that's what that section's for. And then we'll get that done. That section will chip seal as we chip seal the rest of the motopave. I will not chip seal the entrance, and hopefully won't for many years. We can do some other seal products that can keep it black.
Gotcha. Is that area going down, is it coming down from the clubhouse to Eagle Claw? Is that the area?
No, it's just it's at the bottom of that hill is where it's worse. I will have them, if I'd like to have them as they do that, we'll go in and trim those humps that are at the curve up there at the top of the hill. There's some pushes up there, and whether we do it with that mill or we get a Bobcat mill or something in there and do it, but we'll smooth that up before we chip seal too.
Okay.
So what prevents us from exceeding those numbers?
The only thing is if and it happens, if it is so muddy under there, we fall through in a couple places and have to do some patching.
Why I'm asking is the quote and the budget line items matched 1 for 1, so it didn't look like there was any contingency in there.
There's not. I mean, they measured by the square yards, and I can check their square yards, and it's really it's a square yard price. Just quoted it that way, but.
And then how long is it going to take to do each section, and what are we going to do about traffic, and how's that going to impact everything?
Once they mill, traffic can still ride on it. My guess is we would mill it in a day and pave it in a day, and I was thinking that we could, or I'm talking about the front entrance. I think for that time when they're paving, we can open up that secondary gate.
Yeah, we could just have security sit down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the section at Eagle Claw, that's that's going to be tough. And truthfully, I hadn't really figured that one out yet. But,
probably just have to shut the road down, or just put road closed signs so you can get down there to get to your house, but you're not going all the way through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people will have to go all the way around.
Yeah.
There's really no.
And I'd work with the contractor and see, again, we might be able to do it in such a way that we mill it one day and give it to traffic and then pave it the next, and it won't be that much of a,
It would be a day, right?
it'd be a day.
At most.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, Jeff's having computer issues. He keeps jumping in and out, so hopefully he's not gonna go away. Yeah, we can come up with a plan for addressing the traffic coming through there, and would have to notify people. And we got delivery trucks coming in. We just have to try to redirect everybody down to that entrance while we do it, because we don't want anybody driving on it. So how's everyone feel about just going with this quote and getting it scheduled?
I had dealings with paving projects back at the bridge, and due to that we were government, we had to take the lowest bid, and that was a nightmare. I mean, we knew the one contractor that we knew could handle the job. Somebody came in with a lower bid, and it was a mess. I mean, I trust Rex's judgment with this contractor, and just by looking at it, I feel comfortable with it, just with my minimal knowledge that I have.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and he is a member. He does live here, so he's got to drive over it too. But
That's a pretty good satisfaction guarantee. I'd be happy to make a motion on behalf of Rex's bid that he's been able to attain here and waive the bid for this project.
Second it.
Marty and Rex. Well, Rex, I know you're in. Marty, you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Now we do need to talk scheduling after we talk about the gate, because I want to make sure that we don't do this work and then have to come in and saw cut through it to do any RFID work or gate replacements for that. So
Yeah.
we gotta
True.
Nothing
discuss
nothing
that.
annoys me worse. Nothing annoys you worse, Rex, when they pave a new road and then they come in and cut through it.
Yep.
To freaking
For a
run a
phone line.
telephone line
Yeah.
across it, and then they half patch it, and then I agree. So you want to let McKee know that they got the work. We'll figure out when we're going to do it based on the timing of gates. But Rex, Jeff, you may want to have Rick look at that side gate, that alternate gate over there, and just make sure there's plenty of good stone down, and it's going to be able to handle some traffic for a day.
Hey, does that need to get approval from the board because of the dollar value?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's quit, Linda. Did we approve the Motopave last year, or not Motopave, the chip and seal last year, because it's all part of the road budget?
No, not the chip and seal. Mm-mm.
Well, we did a $100,000 contract for the chip and seal. I mean, it's all part of how we spend the road budget, I guess. But
I don't think.
Part of the operating funds? I don't know, I'm just asking. I mean, I don't make the rules.
Linda,
I'm not sure, really. I'd have to check on that. I don't know. I would think since it's coming out of our budget and for roads, I don't think we have before.
we never have for the Motopave or when we hired the. But I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal. But
No, so it doesn't. Yeah. If it's road related, it's good to go.
Yeah, it's not really a purchase; it's a contract for how we get our roads done. So we can figure that out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Rex. Appreciate it.
Deerfoot Lake algae. So I will say, Steve, I did get an email from Sue Pyle that the Lakes Committee had been wanting to put some basically small grass carp in that lake to help try to maintain the algae, and they were kind of afraid if we put chemicals in there that would kill them. I know nothing about pond chemicals, so you're up.
So the plan is laid out, and we actually discussed it today too. So basically, if you eliminate sunlight, you eliminate growth. So the thing would be to put in I'll call it a pond dye, the blue pond dye you've seen. It's usually a copper sulfate based product, liquid or dry. It's applied. Absolutely nothing, no warnings, no health issues for fish, any kind of aquatic life. You can put the stuff in there and swim in it if you want to turn blue as soon as you put it in there. So it is a safe product along that lines.
Okay.
Going that way, it's something we ask. I asked to get some bid prices on that, so we have some idea on the cost. And then additional to that, the key thing to control what we had was this duckweed, which can easily spread with waterfowl. That's why it's called duckweed. And it's just something we want to keep in check down there so we don't get that spread over to the big lake and in the coves and things like that. So I think prevention through the pond dye and then adding an irrigation system or an agitation system to it above what we have now, something that would help really aerate the water as well as keep it moving. Something like the one they have on the hole that's back by the golf course maintenance building. So aesthetically, it'll be blue water, fountain out in it to keep the oxygen levels up and keep everything mixed up the way it should. Our duckfoot is also controlled by movement. That's a stagnant lake where we don't have water coming in and overflowing out of it all the time. So keeping the water from being stagnant. So my suggestion is to go with the pond dye and then add another irrigation sprinkler type system like that. And again, aesthetically coming in the gate, there'll be what looks like a water feature out there, water spraying up in the air. So it's aesthetically going to look nice. And especially if we're going to Jim Dandy our front entrance up, it might be a good thing to it. But ultimately, it's going to control the problem so it doesn't spread to the other lakes. So in this way, we're not using a chemical. There still could be some rescue treatments. We still have product left from last year. We were able to keep it in check with several applications. But if we see an outbreak this year, we have things there we can immediately get onto it, in some real shallow, stagnant water.
I got a file today saying that they were putting some, I guess it's grass carp into that lake. So they're hoping that'll be a long-term solution for it.
Yeah, the grass carp work pretty good initially, but when they get really big, then they kind of slow way down feeding, and then they're less effective. That lake has had grass carp in the past, but they get big and then they get very ineffective at it. So Steve, we're going to get pricing on the bloom chemical, plus how about for a pond aerator fountain?
We can research that. I'll work with Rick on that and see. I don't know what model we have up there and how big it is, but yeah, we can get you a quote on that. I just wanted to run the ID through and just make sure everybody's on board, I guess, with that. I just want to make sure we put it in check there so it doesn't become a problem elsewhere for us.
Yeah, and that lake's it gets ugly every year, especially if we get a warm, dry spell. Like the lower it gets, the worse it looks. So I think we can hit it with a couple-pronged approach.
Next meeting, we can get you prices on everything, but it's also time to make that jump. If we're going to get the pond dye in there, we want to do it before the water starts really warming up.
Yeah. Okay. So if we can make a decision, we have the numbers, we can make a decision at the next meeting.
Easily done, taken care of.
All right. All right. Purchasing limits.
All right, so I apologize for the most direct presentation because my computer froze. So now on iPhone, it looks like it's still recording. If I can stop the recording from my phone or not. Purchasing limits. So current purchasing limits without getting a vote from the management committee are $500. $500 is awfully low considering the cost of things these days, and we routinely exceed that whenever we're purchasing food and liquor as an example. So I would like to ask and recommend that we increase that. I think a minimum of $5,000 would be reasonable. And I would even think that 10 wouldn't be unreasonable. So I'll open that discussion.
All right. I mean, I guess we established that $500 rule basically out of distrust for following the budget in our previous GM, and so I think that was more of a okay. We got to really watch everything. You know, I think Jeff did a good job establishing a budget, and we all approved it. So you know, as long as he can stay within that budget, I support raising that limit.
I do too. It's just, and again, I think the budget limit for you and your approval level should be there. But I mean, would we want any employee to have approval to spend $10,000 on behalf?
No.
I
Jeff
mean,
would
I
have
think
approval.
that approval would be yours. The 500, I think, should still stay in place because if they need to run to town, you know, and pick up parts, 500 should be enough to keep them going on that without having to chase you down and ask for permission and everything. But to keep some check, yours would be a lot higher. I total issue.
But I would say that
things are different today than when we put this in place.
And Steve, along those lines, I would say that, you know, the employees, Jeff would be responsible for that. And that would not have to come back to us. That's Jeff's job.
Correct. Exactly.
To manage that.
His job to police that.
So he can, I mean, he should be, I would give him the freedom to set that to what he feels is appropriate.
I'll go along with that.
I agree.
So what do we think that limit ought to be? JJ, Rex, Marty, Steve?
I mean, Jeff, could you live with 5,000 now, and then we'll just take a look, and if things, you know, if we're looking at buying bigger things, you know, we could raise that. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not against the 10,000 either. Back at the bridge, we had the 5,000 limit for the maintenance supervisor, but then anything after that, we had to. I had to say, give the okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can live with 5,000. It's not like I'm going to stop communicating with you guys anyway, and not like Rick's going to stop communicating with me. He seeks approval for just about any purchase that he makes, even prior to knowing the amount sometimes. So, yeah, I'm fine with, you know, experiment with 5,000.
Yeah.
There.
And that could be done through an email, you know, through an email to us, like we were doing it.
Yeah, my 500, frankly, is that it just wastes so much time having to send all those emails and or wait for a meeting. It's awfully micro. You know?
Understood.
Very frank.
Understood.
We did what we had to do, so I would agree with that. So, and you know what, if as the lodge grows and some of that grows and the vendor bills get a little higher, we can look at it differently too as it goes. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so we're good.
We're all good with 5,000.
Yeah, I don't think that needs to be a motion, does it?
Well, I guess, Jeff, is that enough to get through from what you're seeing and what you would?
So far, now, you know, that said, I can't see, unless we had a wedding for 500 people out at the pavilion, I can't see needing more than that even for a food and beverage purchase on a weekly basis. So.
I think it'd be enough if we blew a big tire on a tractor. That would be more than enough that you could get tire service out here. You get a new $3,000 tire, get it mounted, and put on the equipment and keep us going.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Are you getting ready to move on to the next topic?
Well, you can stay in here if you want.
Well, I want to go back a minute to the MotoPave and the chip and seal.
Okay.
Looking at the code, it says any expenditure, operational, capital, or depreciation exceeding 15,000 must be approved in advance by the board.
Okay.
So I think we should probably, or you should probably bring that to the board, and you could do that in next week's meeting.
Yep. Okay. I'll bring that to the board. It's not a problem.
All right. Thank you.
Can't imagine anybody enjoys driving over that F road, that entrance down there. That just about throws me out of my truck. So, okay. Fair enough. Any other discussion on the purchasing limits?
Nope.
Nope.
We're good.
How about it, Jeff?
Okay.
All right. Revisit of turf chemical quotes.
All right. So in drilling down, we found a couple of errors, and I'm trying to move my mouse, and it's not going to work for that either. So I'm going to give you numbers that I can't see. But we are, what had been quoted by one of the companies was 5 bags of something we need 80 or 90 bags of, typo or whatever. So basically what we've got it down to now, it's still about a $2,000 savings over what we originally were quoted. Down to Nutrien and Target Specialty, with Target Specialty having been the company that we've used in the past, or at least the past few years. Local guy, and a salesman apparently has come through for us. However, what was going on was Elmer would give him a list of chemicals, and he was quoting those exact chemicals without saying, there's generics for some of these that you might be able to get for cheaper. He was quoting exactly what he was asked to quote versus partnering with us and meeting what I would have expected. So as we put this out to bid, all of a sudden, as we go to him and told him that other companies were quoting some generics, then all of a sudden he came back with the bid, and it is again the best bid, apples to apples now, generic for generic, and trade patents for those things that can still have trade patents on them. Total price, the total difference between Target and Nutrien is $111. Okay, tax, title, license, for the total spend at the most of $12,727. And that would be if we went with Nutrien, it's 12,600 and some change if we went with Target. So here's what I would like to do. They're both anxious for our business, Target to keep it, Nutrien to get it. My recommendation is that the prices are so close on almost everything that I can't split it precisely down the middle, but that we give them each the opportunity to provide us with about $6,300 worth of chemicals, and let's work toward who's gonna be the better partner for next year. Let them both. We're gonna be within $100 out of pocket.
Wasn't there an issue with
Target
Target?
says, well, pricing was based on buying all that from us, then they're out of the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there an issue with Target with just coming and dumping all the chemicals like at the first of the year, and we had to watch them? They didn't just bring them on gradually when needed? I may be wrong, but I thought that was something that was discussed.
And then they split up over 3 different payment.
You're cutting out, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Am I? Apparently, that's how they chose to purchase them, and they just split up payment for 3 different payment increments for us. This is what I'm getting from Elmer and Rick today. That they didn't say they had to have them all here at once. It was deciding that that's how we wanted to purchase them. Which
Okay, all right,
okay.
Just one point of, I guess, order on this, and I'm not going to specify one way or the other because I've taken myself out of the bid. But we kept hearing about a second bid, and I think Elmer today in the discussion had things confused. The second bid was actually given by the other company. After they were given our prices, they came and matched our prices.
no, he's saying he didn't give them prices, just the generics that were spec'd is what he told me. That was the big question I had for him after the meeting.
Okay.
So is there any other reasons to shift vendors aside from the guy not working with us for years? I say guy, but the company.
No, frankly, other than keeping everybody honest, because apparently they got pretty comfortable if they thought it was cool to charge us an extra, essentially $2,000 for just getting what we had asked them to get versus saying, you go to the doctor, and example I gave, the doctor can spec Lipitor, but this pharmacist is going to fill atorvastatin because it's a whole heck of a lot cheaper. I can pay $500 or I can pay $43. And you expect that. I expect from vendors, and especially that we use those that we use regularly, to be able to offer advice on their area of expertise.
Yeah, and that's why I say that who's at Target was our original vendor, right? And they didn't
Correct.
do that. And they didn't do that.
No.
So
No.
why should we give them anything for right now?
Well, you know, the value that we get from them, and again, talking to Elmer and Rick, the value that we get from them really lies in the advice we get on the course itself, and the alerts that we get from them about turf conditions that are affecting other local courses and that kind of thing.
Oh, so they were bringing more value.
They were bringing some. You know, I don't know if we would get any less from Lenny with Nutrien. He's not as local, but I have to imagine he deals with some courses locally as well. That's what I'm saying. Let's let it be a competition.
Okay.
See who provides the best value over this year, and I'll have to stay engaged in it to make sure that we're not getting out of hand with either of them. But if we split it to where it's 5,000 and 7,000, or 5,500 and 6,500, or however we can split it without breaking a case of chemicals, if you will, I think we'll be a lot smarter next year.
Okay.
Jeff, I think that's good. I think you've done
okay with that.
your due diligence, and vendor management is a big piece of what you are doing. And if this is a way you think you can manage vendors to get your best service down the line, I think it's good. So I'm all in.
Good.
Anybody opposed to that idea, or Steve, you don't get a vote?
I just get to comment. I mean, there were other services by other. I just hate to see us with any vendor cut off our nose to spite the face down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that another company, the other two companies that bid, if they know we're going to stick with this other one, you may lose your advantage to them bidding next year on a comparable price that would be attractive to us as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will start, we did have 3 bids on this. If you remember, Helena was the third, and they were just way out in left field. So that wasn't even worth going back to. I got a very short answer from the salesperson when I asked some questions. So obviously they're not going to save us any money.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Everyone good to splitting it, or trying it this year?
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Split it.
All right.
Yep.
I say split it.
Yes, sir.
Rex. Okay. All right.
It may change pricing. Keep in mind there too, for both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll ask that question.
Well, what did the quote say, that you had to buy everything?
Nope.
Yeah. I think. Well, if it does, then we just go to the other one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Absolutely.
options.
Yeah.
All right. Spring cleanup timing.
So I understand this is a management committee decision as to when we time it. So we've started getting a couple questions about it. Rick was asking about it, so I figured we better talk about when it's going to be. He's saying usually the first or second week of June. Sometimes we plan on the first full week, and it ends up feeding into the full second week.
There's nothing there after the second hour. Those things are filled.
It's become the world's most, Hideaway Hill's most popular event. I swear if we cut it out, we'd all get lynched.
And we
We've
can
typically done it.
on there for a day.
What?
Maybe we
What'd
can
you?
extend our alcohol sales footprint down there for a day or two.
It's healthy to bring your stuff down. I don't know. You can always get a temporary liquor permit. We typically have always had it right after Memorial Day, because the timing of that was the week before Memorial Day. The social committee had their big sale, and so we'd have it like 2 weeks later, just because anything they didn't sell, they would bring over and just basically throw in the dumpster. So that's just been the timing for years. But now last year they didn't have their sale because of COVID, but I'm hoping they'll have it this year. So it typically would be first or second week of June. If there's a week better for maintenance, we can hear that. I mean, listen, see what that is.
Okay. No, and Rick
In the,
with either of those.
Yeah. So has anybody got
In
a
the fall-
preference or?
in the fall, didn't we start it on a Thursday this year? So we had Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend, and then it ended like on a Monday.
It might have been. It always covers a weekend, so our weekend
Correct.
guests can members, yeah. But I mean, it typically would go Thursday to Wednesday or Thursday to Tuesday. It doesn't have to go a full week, but we'd like to give everyone an adequate chance to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think we did that to get a Friday dump.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll just go like the first, second week of June, and we can either 6 or 7 days, Jeff.
Okay.
Most of the stuff comes down the first 2 days anyway.
Okay.
So we just make sure we remind people: no batteries, no tires, no construct. You know, what bothers me is it's supposed to be members getting rid of things and not construction contractors taking advantage of it. But it's hard to police.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have a way
Especially
to.
for our members to take advantage of, not a contractor to take advantage of getting rid of stuff. But
Okay.
unfortunately, we have to police that. All right. Next up on the agenda, RFID gate project.
All right. So signatures, I still have not found any bids. I've been through about half the files on that file, and I have not found any bids.
Okay.
Signature controls, I think it is supposed to be. I've been playing phone tag with the sales rep there. We're going to try and get him out next week to meet. And you know, it's probably time for a new bid anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm sure we want to rebid it, and we do have some security type people in the hills that we might be able to reach out to and ask questions.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I understand the concept of these systems, but I've never, you know, it's an RFID reader, but I know there's different, like how far they can read away and stuff like that, and that'll determine the cost. So
I reached out to one of the firms that did our tolling lanes back at the bridge with the lift gates, and at first it was just looking at the RFID system, but then I also added the gates similar to the ones that we use at the bridge. So I'm waiting to hear back from this company. It's called PSX, and see what they have to say, see if they can quote it. It gives us another quote no matter what.
yeah. So I think we just got to get some quotes and start seeing what our technology looks like. You know, what's the cost of the RFID tags, and we got to decide if that's the cost we're going to try to pass along to the members. What's the cost to have 4 gates put in? A lot of things to do on this, but I'd like to keep the project moving along. It is one of the things that was important to a lot of people when they voted for our assessment increase. So
Were those tags expensive? I don't think that they are they?
I thought they were. Go ahead.
I would say
We used Easy Pass. Easy
even
Pass was a consortium.
we were paying about $3 a piece for.
Yeah.
That's what I
Kind of
thought.
Sounds about right.
I remember telling me they were $125 a piece because if you have the long range one. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that at the parking garage in Houston, we used our Easy Tag.
Yeah.
Which was a thing that you just stuck up on your windshield, right? And you
Yeah.
can go 75 miles down the road, and it read it. So it worked on that too.
The original bid we had included 1,500 of those.
Yeah,
it did.
the system.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just curious, because you made the comment about, about that. So
yeah, the question before was, do we charge people for them to help pay for this, or do we give them to members, or how we do that? We'll have to figure that out, or what the recommendation is. You also have to keep in mind all these gate clickers. I think everyone paid $30 a piece to as a deposit for one. So we'll have
How
to
many of
figure
those
out
do
how
we
to.
have out there?
We really don't know, Marty. We really just don't know.
All right.
The office actually should know. They're all numbered, so they actually probably can tell us how many we have out there. But I think it was a $30 deposit, and you're supposed to get it back when you leave. You hand it back in, you get your money back.
We paid 50.
50. Well,
I don't know.
Interest rate.
It could have changed over the years. I mean,
it might have been
Yeah, it
50.
could've.
I don't remember.
50 is what I heard him quoting today.
So the question is, I mean, hypothetically, somebody turns that back in, we've got to give their $50 back. So you owe me $100. But I mean, then do we offset that with, can you trade it for a RFID sticker or 3 RFID? I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Okay. Gotcha.
Any other comments on RFID for now? Just want to keep this thing moving, project moving.
No, that's
let's
good.
keep her going.
Keep it going. Gate repairs.
Gate repairs, Rush Creek Township finally called back. They have agreed to submit the broken gate invoice to their insurance company. So that I've got to call out to them because I didn't get an email address at the time. Call out to them so we can actually get that off to them. Gate is in the process of being built so that we don't go without if another one gets broken.
Gotcha.
And they are $3,600 now.
Ouch.
Materials have gone up even there.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah. Let's figure out something there, but all right. Any questions on the gate repair?
No.
All right.
Good.
Package storage.
Package storage. All right. So Rick's idea, and I think it is a good one, is to, and we talked about we're hitting between 450 and 500 packages a week still. We only got up to 1,000 one time during the time that I was here, at least around the holidays. But there's just not enough room in that little 10 or 12 foot shed that was attached to the building. So the thought is to actually attach, and you'd have to create a little bit longer breezeway, more than likely, different dimensions, but actually scoot that shipping container around and attach that to the building. While I can hear all sorts of, oh my gosh, in the air right now. What Rick is suggesting and figures he can do for about $6,500 at the most is actually build a structure around that so that the shipping container itself is hidden. Put a side door into it, and allow member access and FedEx and UPS access through that side door, and then just attach to the security building, and we can move the 12-foot container to somewhere that we can use it around the holidays for additional package storage. But he quoted out items, and he actually said $6,000, so I figured $6,500 just to play safe in case he didn't add tax.
Gotcha.
He actually items minus paint for the T111 siding.
Okay.
Presses that includes roof material, T111, and then whatever posts and studs are necessary to hold it all together.
So he's basically just going to enclose it a little bit to make it look like it matches the building.
Correct. It from the outside it'd look like a 40-foot long shed. From inside it'll still be the shipping container.
Okay. Comments, questions? I do want to get that thing moved. It still looks ugly sitting down there.
Yeah.
I don't even notice it anymore.
We'll just park a big shipping container in your driveway. See how long
Go right ahead.
I
You can get it up here.
Good point.
It's completely different, but what was the bid on the golf course building? Was that 18, something like that?
19.
19. So for 6, we're getting something that probably looks better. I think they better need some ventilation though. That thing is going to get like an oven in the summer, and so. But
Yep.
not air conditioning or anything, but just some way to get the air moving in there so that,
Probably like a power exhaust fan to keep
Well-
the air pulling out.
yeah.
They don't need to be, if you put sides around that container, they don't need to be solid, right? You could just put a split rail in there where you have a couple inch gap
Sure.
between
Yeah,
the boards.
paint it black and then yeah, do it.
Yep,
Yep.
because you're just trying to hide it, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be less than T111 siding or not, but yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it saves us from having to put a fan in there and pay more money for electricity too.
Well, you still got a steel box.
Buys us,
Yeah.
buys
Yeah.
us a few years, hopefully, before we have to actually build a security building.
I think it's worth doing. We're not going to get less packages, and we don't want to spend again another 18. So if we can do it for a third of that.
And I think it makes Jim happy, so.
Yeah, get that ugly thing out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the honest answer, I would have loved to see us build a new security building, but I mean, looking at how much money we've got and how much deferred maintenance we've got on just the Lake of the Four Seasons alone, I don't see it happening in the next 5 years. We've got coves we've got to maintain. We've got silt traps to get done.
Culverts,
We got, what was that, Linda?
culverts.
Culverts,
Culverts.
to fix. So, I just don't see us being able to build a security building in the next 5 years. So I'm for this. Steve, you got a comment? Anything?
No, I'm good. Let's just make it not so ugly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would we
Definitely.
need to take the shed off the existing office, because then that's going to mess up the back and the paint? Couldn't they use that? It's already there.
I don't think there's room to get the whole shooting match there.
Yeah, we'll have to measure and see. I don't know that he thought about that.
Well, I just don't want to tear it out of it. They can use the extra space. They really don't have a lot of space there. If they could, move the refrigerators back into that piece, or something like that, and give more actual office space to where they can operate. It'd be a thing. Just talk with them about and see if they could utilize that 10 by 12 room back there. I think they'll miss it if it's gone.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take
All
a
right.
look at that spot.
So, do we want to approve like $8,000 to get this project moving, or how we want to do this, guys?
I'm okay with that. I mean, that's all we've heard, that it's just, it's ugly, it's ungodly. If we can, enclose it so it looks like it's part of the other building, and ventilate it, I don't see any issues with that.
I'd just like to get this moving before our maintenance guys get too busy mowing. Here soon.
Mowing
So-
and road maintenance. Now's the
So-
time to do it. You're right, Jim.
So if we could do somebody could make a motion for $8,000, and Jeff, you can just advise us one way or another about the shed,
Okay.
and then we can just go with that.
So I'll make a motion for
Marty makes a
$8,000
motion.
to get moving on redecorating the storage.
I will
I can
second
second
that.
it. All right,
Oh,
got it.
2 seconds.
I'll third it.
Rex, you good?
I'm good.
All right, let's move this along, Jeff.
All right. Do we want to use take this out of operating or CapEx? What do-
I mean, it's really probably operating. We just have to
Okay.
find where it's going to go in the budget. Yeah, I mean, it's really not depreciation. It's not really much of an existing asset. It's just more so reconfiguring this. So
Okay.
that's why the least expensive we can do it the best, but I still want it to look good. So we might be able to get members to volunteer to paint. Now, I know Vandy painted, it was nice enough to paint the whole thing for us. He might do it really reasonable just because he was a good club member. He painted that. Vandy, I think it might have been before you came, Jeff, a member of Vandy Painting, Kevin Vanderwater, painted the entire shed and security building on his own. He's got a painting business, so he was nice enough to do that. So we can work with him, and I don't expect him to go down there and do it again, but maybe he'll cut us a deal on some labor if we can buy the paint for him this time. So
Okay.
it'd be worth asking. He's a good member. So
If he gets tied up, we can go down there. I mean, it's all flat surface. There's not going to be trim work, and I mean, he had a lot of care and timing put into when he did the main security building. This one, we could go down there with 2 or 3 guys with rollers and probably roll it out pretty quick too if we had to. But yeah, I would like to share it with him. He did help us out on the other one.
Okay. Got it.
all right, lodge updates. I'm pretty much Jeannie's favorite assistant bartender
No,
slash
that's
go.
not what she told me. No.
I hear, but okay, if it helps you sleep good.
You can take my shift.
Yeah, I mean, since you fit so well, it's
I
2
want
nights
you
a
guys to
week,
get-
Jim.
That's your
you guys
calling,
to get-
Jim.
I want
Yeah,
you guys
that's
to
your
get
deal.
better. I want you guys to get better. I was initially told to stay out of the kitchen because I was screwing the borders, but I think we got that worked out.
Couple of
Open
wrong
up a cheese pizza.
Yeah.
to
Couple of Italian subs didn't get to the right place, but that's okay. We're all learning. All right, Jeff, you want to give us some lodge updates?
Yep, we've actually got a chef candidate selected. Job was offered and accepted, and we are getting him through the new hire process now. Start date of the 22nd, which is what we've got budgeted, with the intent being that next weekend, the 27th, 28th, I believe it is, will be the beginning of the lodge shutdown. Let him start getting in there and get time to put menus together, get new staff in and trained. We are going to reach out to, or I'm going to reach out tomorrow to another candidate that wasn't qualified, but that had just finished culinary school, and see if he's interested in an hourly position in there. Because he was a good candidate, just not the most qualified. Can use some tutelage, I think. So,
Gotcha.
and then I had absolutely 0 of the interviews, of 4 scheduled interviews, show up for a front of house supervisor. So Jeannie's volunteering to continue to oversee that. I figure we'll give it a rest on Indeed for a while and try again. I may even advertise part-time for Fridays and Saturdays for that role. It's really more of a floor supervision position than anything else at this point. But in the meantime, Jeannie will cover that. She's out of town starting that weekend of the 27th for a bit, but she'll be back by the intended reopening week of the 15th. 15th is a Thursday, gives us a day to warm up before we get hit on Friday and Saturday with a bigger menu. And if we can, then we'll even open up as early as the 13th to give ourselves 2 or 3 days to get warmed up.
Okay. I mean, you might consider a soft opening, and just open it up, open for the management committee and the board to come up and just basically get your mistakes out of the way. I know a lot of stores do that soft opening. They open for the employees and their families so that they can kind of work out any kinks. But that's just an idea.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how quickly we can get staff trained, he's thinking it won't take more than a week and a half, and he doesn't want much more time than that, because then we start experimenting with food and ends up just with more waste than we need for training purposes. So
So do we need a motion on that Jim Zickafoose is going to buy dinner for us on a soft opening? Any of you other guys want to second that?
Well, no, it's not going to cost anybody but Jim, so no, we don't need a vote
Oh,
on that.
okay, that's good.
They're hilarious.
Biden might go over 15,000. Do we need to get support?
There's no limit when it's Jim's wallet.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, before that, as we're getting samples from PFS for some different things, different burgers. We'll do the same thing with steaks and that kind of thing. So my intent would be to invite the members of the management committee out. It'll be before we're open, to decide which baseball sirloin you like best, which which slice of chicken you like best and that kind of thing. So whatever they'll give us in samples, we'll try cooking up and making sure it's good quality.
Did you ever track
Okay.
down the grill you were looking for? Or
I've got a few
different name
bids
for
out
it?
there. We're really want to get this guy in and get him started and then bring in the equipment.
I have noticed there's been just, I think because maybe due to COVID too, but there's been some marketplace on Facebook, char broilers. I've seen 2 or 3 of them because I've kind of put an eye out for that, as you know, we've talked about that one. And it's a locally based company. I think it's going in and maybe buying out some restaurants that have shut down recently. So it might be an option for us maybe to look, you know, if we can find, again, there's not too many worn out parts on something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's got hinges on it. It doesn't have a motor attached to it. It doesn't have a lot of those things. So a used piece
The
might help
is,
us.
what I've seen and looking at used is there's not a lot of propane equipment out there, and most of it's natural gas if you're going with gas. So, you know, for us to have to get a new piece in and then have to start changing out the orifices and the burners and that kind of thing might end up defeating the purpose. But I've got my eyes peeled and for used equipment as well, just with the consideration that it has to be propane.
Gotcha.
Sometimes with the higher consumption, your propane company will come in and change out orifices too. I think we probably buy a lot of it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Again, not just a question. Wouldn't mind, you know, having asked that.
Yeah.
We don't want,
okay.
you know,
Yeah,
because you may find a good deal on a brand new one even, and we'd hate for that to be a limiting factor, I guess. You know, for it not being propane.
Okay.
All right. Any volunteers to work this weekend?
I'm not quite up to it yet. Getting close.
Yeah, you're moving a little slow yet. So we'll figure that out this week.
I probably shouldn't, because the state of Ohio believes that Kansas is a naughty state. I'm supposed to quarantine.
15%.
All right, we'll go with that. So
I can do one. I'd prefer Friday over Saturday. God willing, we may get to spend a little time with grandkids this weekend. So
Gotcha.
I'll do Saturday.
You guys Saturday. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
All right. Clubhouse updates.
We've had, with the transition from US Foods to GFS there, we've had a couple quality hiccups, and not for any other reason than we thought we were speccing apples to apples. I know hamburgers I'm hearing are turning out a little bit dry, or were turning out a little bit dry. So and then wings were an issue. I think I had mentioned in this meeting several meetings ago that we were way too much on wings. We were getting pre-breaded, pre-spiced, brand name wings and paying $9 a pound or something silly. So we were losing money every time we sold 6 wings. We went with the naked wings. Apparently down there the breaded is preferred, and rather than having the cashier / cook / bus person / server have to worry about breading things, we've ordered for just over $2.50 a pound breaded unspiced wings, and then we'll spice them ourselves. So that's switching from the naked wings, and then we've got 3 or 4 samples of burgers in that they're playing with right now to see which one works better. All about the same price, one that doesn't dry out quite as quickly.
Gotcha.
So just a couple product tweaks there. And then we've started hearing questions about the or lottery machine. We'll get that back up right about middle to end of April. I've already talked to the lottery folks to get somebody out to form an update on it. Okay.
Any questions on Clubhouse updates? When does Chris come back?
She will know for sure by the 11th.
Gotcha. All right. Brewery update.
Okay, we were, I don't know if word had gotten out, but we're running pretty low on lager. I got a hold of Scott Francis today. He tells me that there is lager in the barrel, that he will be out this weekend to get kegged up, so we should have another 8 kegs of lager. We've still got some left at least in the lodge clubhouse. I'm not sure about, but we were getting down to our last half a keg or so. So
Gotcha.
Won't be a concern soon.
JJ, you want to update us on meeting with Brewery 33?
We met with, Jeff and I met with Dave Cornmiller from Brewery 33, just to seeing if, if there was a need or we wanted to go with a guest brewer. He came in and looked at the system, and he didn't think it would be an issue. The one thing he said, he'd just like to come in and just, run water through the system just to make sure it's set up the way he's thinking it is. I mean, all systems are a little bit different, but he would be willing to assist us for however long we need if Scott decides that he really doesn't want to be a part of HAH anymore.
Okay.
He was very hard. I mean, Jeff tried to get him for close to 3 weeks, and he finally got him today. So we don't know. You just have to have a backup plan, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't want to run out of beer again.
Right.
So.
Right.
But, okay. What about, if he did guest brewery, I just would like to pursue, if we have empty capacity, if they're able to use it and share some beer with us. I don't know what option.
We had mentioned that also, but I think just to get him in and brew a lager to get us moving again, or get us back. Then after that, there's different things. There's different ways. He was saying there was different ways that you'd have to set that up. There's different, I guess, licenses that you would do if he was to brew here and then take it back there, or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know all the rules.
But he's been looking into those for a reason with his brewery. So, he's doing some of that work for himself, but it'll benefit us too.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the rules about the beer in our facility.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
I don't know the rules about the beer brewed here leaving our facility. I'm not sure. We might have to ask that question.
Yeah, he was going to check on it.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And in the meantime, our guest tap has been Brewdog's Elvis Juice IPA, and that's been a huge hit. We've gone through the sixtels quite a bit faster than we thought. We just got 4 in on Friday, and at the lodge, 1.5 of those are already gone. So
yeah,
wow.
I know we sold a lot Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Any other brewery updates?
Nope.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up, discuss?
I just want to let y'all know we had our first meeting yesterday for the lake enhancement protection committee. I appreciate Linda joining, and Marty, I'll get you filled in. I'm going to get a report out on the meeting, and then how we're going to move forward. But it was a good start, and I think we're going to have a good team. We're looking to add 2 more members. If anybody has Jake Howdy-Shell's contact information out there, I'd love to have it, because I think we'd like to see if he wants to join.
Okay.
I'll forward that on to you, Rex.
Excellent. Good.
Gotcha. Good. Okay. Anything
And then the
else?
last thing, Tim, do you need any backup for the board on the paving? Or are you good with everything I sent?
We'll just present the I'll present the 3 documents to them ahead of time, so they know what they're voting on.
Okay.
Courtesy, and I think that'll be adequate.
Okay. Excellent.
It's just part of our road plan that they were presented. So. shouldn't be too bad. Any questions? So, okay. Anything else anybody want to bring up? A couple items in executive, but that's it.
All good.
All right. Jeff, can you kill the recording or?
I am going to see what I can do here. Oh, Ben is just telling me recording in progress.
I don't have power to kill it anymore.
Okay. I'll tell you what, why don't we can end this meeting and then I'll do an immediate meeting and send it to everybody. I'll log into that.
Okay, that'll work.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Very good.